Good morning, everyone. Well, in the Bible passage today in Matthew's Gospel, we find the call of Matthew. It isn't the feast of St. Matthew today, because most often feasts are declared at the time of the death of somebody. But this is not our recognition of St. Matthew. It's not his feast day, but it is in the passage that we see that he is called. And remind ourselves, of course, that he was a tax collector, not the most popular person in the world, even these days. So we look at our tax collectors and say, well, we'd rather they weren't around either. But tax collectors were associated then as being sinners. They were outcasts. You don't want to associate with them. And yet Jesus is calling Matthew and saying, come with me. And Jesus' response basically says, I did not come to call the virtuous, but sinners. And I sometimes say, well, thank goodness I'm a sinner, because we are all sinners. We're not perfect, which makes us a sinful being, which is why it's important that we avail ourselves of the sacrament of reconciliation. It's important that we keep our slate clean, or our relationship with the Lord good. We must also be aware, or cautiously aware, that we might consider ourselves to be sinless. Then how are we measuring that? Are we measuring it in terms of our own existence, our own belief? Are we doing it by measuring it against what Jesus has taught us and what we know to be true? Sometimes I think perhaps we might convince ourselves that we are sinless. And I think perhaps there's evidence of that when we have penitential services and so forth. We don't have crowds of people. We should have. We have 4 masses over a weekend. And if we have penitential service, we don't even fill one church. And that's probably an indictment on us, because I think many people, therefore, who should come and reconcile themselves with the Lord are assuming that they don't need to. There's a real danger there, because we've evolved into the subjective conscience. We're not measuring ourselves against what the Lord has taught us, but we're measuring it against what we think is right and what's wrong. Just think about that one. You have a wonderful day and an amazing weekend. We'll see you again. God bless. Bye-bye.